want to know what he's going to do at quarterback, obviously. I mean, not just quarterback, but quarterback represents the whole direction of the team. The whole, are you going for it this year? Are you trying to be competitive this year? Or are you willing to take a more aggressive refresh that might take a little while? I mean, it's funny. Derek Carr represents all of that in one person. It's like if you keep Derek Carr, you're putting off the total rebuild. You're probably also keeping, I think, Demario Davis and Tyrann Mathieu, no matter what. Bigger question marks on Taysom Hill or Cam Jordan, but it's all kind of represented in what you decide to do at quarterback. If you're still trying to win the NFC South, or if you're saying no, no, this is the full rebuild. And I don't think he'll answer that question on day one. I think he'll be very diplomatic about it and say, we've got major decisions to make. I like Derek Carr a lot. Obviously, there's more factors that go into, we're going to get that kind of an answer. But I think if he was married to Derek Carr, I think he would say it tomorrow. I think that's what Darren Rizzi would say if Darren Rizzi was hired. I think he would say what he said at the end of the season, which is, I went 4-0 with Derek Carr. Like every game I won, he was my quarterback, and I didn't win without him. So it's possible that we get the strong, full on, hey, Derek Carr is going to be our quarterback this year. It's possible. I doubt it. But that's the major. I'd mentioned Sean Payton in Denver as the model I think they're going to follow, which was for a year he kind of went with what they inherited, and then he really started tearing it down with Russell Wilson and Justin Simmons and Jerry Jeudy leaving. But another model that I think the fans would like to see, I think I'd be interested in seeing is Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. They give him a 6-year deal, and they said, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and be terrible for a couple of years, and we're going to have patience with."
Like, there probably is a feeling of, a crossroads right now, and it could go either which way, and I could see it going either which way, and, it does feel like the end is closer than the beginning for the Carr era in, New Orleans, and I could see it coming to an end this offseason, or I could see it next year, but it just doesn't feel like it's a long-term marriage at this point.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, and look, all these things can be true of Derek Carr at the same time. I mean, he can be the best chance to win. If they decide to keep him and they decide to keep most of this roster together, it's possible that we'll be looking at it and be like, they could win the NFC South. Kellen Moore could want to do that. But he's delaying the inevitable reset, adding another $40 million to him and to the cap delays a reset. And I just think I'm ready for a reset. I'm very curious what Kellen Moore is related to, ready to do. I'm also curious who his defensive coordinator is going to be. He's not going to tell us that tomorrow. They have a process of interviewing, and you made a really good point. We don't know exactly what his offense is going to be yet. That's another thing we have to find out next year or tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what else? What else we got for him?
Yeah, I mean, he has talked about how he joined these different offenses and adapted around them. Like he got to Los Angeles, he adapted some of the things that worked for Justin Herbert. I'm curious if he likes what he saw from the elements of the Shanahan offense and the run game that kind of worked for the Saints last year. Just today, we found out he's not going to keep Rick Dennison. All the other assistants have already been let go. So I don't think he's going to try to keep that exactly. But I'm curious if he'll share some of his vision for what he thinks. Now it's not someone else's offense. It's his offense 100%. What he thinks that should look like around here.
Yeah, definitely gonna be, fascinating on that front. Obviously, I wanna know what his defense is what he likes out of a defense. We don't know anything about what he likes out of a defense. Wanna know what that is. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of questions there. Like, the interesting thing is we spent a week with him, so we kinda know his philosophies, in general. Like, what how do you like to do things? How do you like to call plays? How do you like to put together your plan? How do you incorporate it with the quarterback? Do you do the end of the week meeting? Do you like a big play call sheet, a small sheet? Like, is the font big on it? Was like literally something. How long are your play calls? Like, we spent 3 hours with this guy, just like, all right, got to fill up this time here. And it's not like he's a person that gives like loquacious answers. They're kind of like short. So like it's just rapid fire questions for 3 days and just kind of going over his football philosophy. who the teams he cheered for growing up. Like we could write a small book. Like we could definitely write a small book on this man. So kind of coming into it knowing a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of more the general, like how do you build this? Like what's the alignment going to be? What do you want out of, what's your philosophy on the offensive line? All this stuff.